Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And how long can we go without doing something Marvel or Star Wars related, superhero comic book related?
Mm-hmm.
It's always we can't stop, we won't stop, and therefore we shall push forth with our top 100 comic book character list. This is just like the Star Wars one we did, entirely based on our favorites, entirely subjective, entirely up to you. This isn't about who the best characters are. It's not about like, oh, who had the best story. I mean, unless of course whoever has the best story makes them your favorite, then that's fair game. But yeah, you know, it's not we're not critiquing anything here. It's mostly just relishing in the glory of Marvel and DC characters.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm just very, very excited to do. And to kick it off here, we start with 100. We work through at least the bottom 25 here, and I very much so look forward to getting into that with you. How'd this list come together for you?
It at the start a little slow because I just wanted to make sure I was thinking of my top favorites in the right spot. But once I started getting past, like, you know, the 15, 20 mark, they were flowing pretty easily. And then it was kind of difficult near the end to, you know, I got to 80, 85 pretty easily whenever I was just running. But the last like 15 or so were a little difficult to come up with.
At that point for me, it became like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then like it kept being oh yeahs until I got to like 120, and I was like, oh fuck, now I have to cut.
And I think total I only cut about like 4 or 5, maybe 6 people. For me, so
plenty of characters that ultimately didn't get the nod. R.I.P. Puddle Gulp, aka Frog Thor.
Too many big names in these universes.
Too many, just too many, and plenty. And you know, there's a testament to Marvel for doing what they've done. You know, they dominate this list for me compared to DC, but I do have plenty of DC characters. It's just a testament to the on-screen development that we've seen of more characters across the Marvel universe. I think, you know, I've obviously read plenty of comics and stuff, and that obviously does have some bearing on these rankings, but. You know, there's the movie and television medium has always resonated with me in a way that the comic books haven't, and therefore the characters that are brought to life on screen well always become the ones that resonate with me the most. So that's just kind of the briefing I wanted to give. I'm not too like, you got to be comics loyal. You got to be comics accurate. No, like if you're going to give me a good story, do what you're going to do, and I'm going to accept it on screen. You know what I'm saying? Or, I mean, like, unless it's just bad, you know, that's happened too.
There's just some things that you can't really make happen that happen in comic books a lot of the time. Exactly. Or it's too crazy. And, you know, in the MCU, they got to play into their whole timeline and the whole storyline and stuff. So a lot of factors. So, yeah, like, I don't know. It's conversation like Star Wars too. Everyone's like, gotta be critical and source material, gotta be exact, but like, no, like it's supposed to change and be new stories and everything. So
yeah, it'll be it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun is the bottom line. And with that, I think it might be time to do this shit. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
All right then, I'll kick it off. with my 100. This is a Fantastic Four character, but not a member of the Fantastic Four. It is Doctor Doom. That's how I kick off my top 100. I've always fucked with this villain. You know, it's a pretty iconic look with some influence over some other stuff that I've grown to love deeply. You know, like I think Doctor Doom could be something of a source of inspiration for, you know, even Darth Vader at a point in terms of the character design. But Doctor Doom is just legendary. You know, every time I see that mask and I see that green hood, it's like
tough.
Oh, dude.
I don't know. Like at first, when you look at him, you're like bad vibes, villain vibes. You know, like you're like
villain
you're not thinking like, yeah, this dude's gonna, you know, be a great, you know, outstanding guy and
upstanding citizen.
But Doctor, what a fitting name too. Like, what a just name, the look, the reputation.
I love it when it all comes together. You know who I want to play? I want to play Doctor Doom in the MCU.
Who?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Ooh, yeah, he plays the villain role well. I didn't even think of like what villain he could take up in Marvel, but that would be
and I tell you what, if Giancarlo Esposito takes up the mantle of Doctor Doom in the MCU, or if it gets an on-screen adaptation that just knocks me on my fucking ass when it comes to the MCU, I'll tell you what, this character will shoot up this list, because the only thing holding me back is that I haven't gotten an on-screen adaptation that I really love. You know, I do fuck with the comic character, and I think I've seen him in video games be really fucking cool. Like I loved him in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. That shit was awesome. Becomes God Emperor Doom. Like the shit that this guy, the heights this man's achieved in some places in the comics is fucking crazy, just because he is at some point just a man. So it's really cool character. I kick it off with Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom.
Hopefully we'll be able to see him sometime soon.
I hope so.
In live action. But my 100 kicks off with Kolg. Our Rocky friend, you know, Wong was confirmed to be new Master 64 or whatever, but the you know, he's just super funny, you know, in a movie, a fun movie, you know, as well. Just
we don't say that name around here.
Yeah, you do the impression very well. I don't really want to attempt it, but yeah, he's I don't know. Just I felt like he was a fitting 100. You know, just a guy who's
pile of rocks right here.
Yeah, he's just he was content. You know, he was.
It's on these grounds we can rebuild. Oh well, there it goes. Sorry.
Just I don't know. I love Korg. He's
he's a cutie, you know, and I fuck with Taika Waititi, so him voicing that character is legendary. So Korg is a perfect 100. I wish I could have gotten some more meme characters in. I wanted Puddle Gulp. God damn it, I just couldn't in good conscience get Puddle Gulp in here.
Yeah, there's too many strong names on here to throw in one of those.
You know, and along with Puddle Gulp, shout out Kangaroo the Conqueror, shout out Alligator Loki. I guess I could bring him up later since he is just a variant of Loki.
True.
I suppose I could with Thor as well.
I guess that is just Thor. That is Thor.
Thor.
So I guess you do have him on your list.
Technically, in some capacity. But yeah, Korg, that's a good 100. But with that, on to my 99. And this is where I've got a leader of the X-Men in Cyclops.
Wow. Okay.
This is a character like, and when it came to our Star Wars list, you'll recall me being like, you know, when I was growing up, it wasn't Anakin for me. Like it wasn't the main guy. It wasn't Luke. It was Han. It was Obi-Wan. It was one of these other guys around him. I always, to an even fucking greater degree, did not like Scott Summers when I was younger. I don't know what it was about him, but I was like, I could not care less about this guy.
I mean, fair.
And it's only with age that I've come to appreciate Cyclops in any capacity. There was a time where, and I was a diehard Wolverine guy when I was younger, and I wanted Wolverine to be happy in the movies, and he wanted Jean Grey, and Scott had Jean Grey, therefore fuck Scott. But I've come to grow on Scott's come to grow on me quite a bit over the years. Not enough, as you'll see, as he is 99 on this list, pretty low, but
a pretty big jump, pretty big gap here.
Yeah, I feel like we'll find a lot more of those in this. Some characters that find their way really high on the list for one of us and not so high on the others. But Cyclops at 99.
And my 99 this is where Hela is.
Good one.
I figured, she's not in it for too much. She's a lot of people kind of forget about her when it comes like to the MCU sometimes. But I mean, when she was on screen, I don't know, she was badass. Her storyline was just so cool. The design too of her character was just awesome. And I don't know, that the Thor storylines are always so cool. And this one wasn't any exception.
You'll find that on my list there are a couple characters that I didn't include because I was counting on you including them, and Hela was one of them, and Odin will be another that I know is probably on your list, but is not on mine.
Don't have to worry.
No need to worry there. I knew I wouldn't have to worry about that one. I was like, Hela might be risky, but we'll see. And she snuck in there, 99. But yeah, she's a dope villain. She's really like the only thing that could take her down in the end was the fucking not the ether, but what was the fucking guy? The flaming giant. Who's plunged his sword deep into the bosom of Asgard.
Oh. Surtur.
Surtur, that's right. That is right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Surtur. Voiced by Clancy Brown, I believe. But yeah, he's Hela was a badass, and the only thing that could stop her in the end was the destruction of Asgard.
Yeah,
which is pretty incredible.
Damn, that's fair. I didn't even think about the way she went out, but yeah, she went out with a bang.
With a bang, to be sure. But I'm gonna stick with you. I'm gonna stick with you in Asgard for 98 here. This is where I have Heimdall.
Oh wow, okay.
I love me some Heimdall, but not enough to propel him super high up this list. He was always one of my favorite Thor characters. Every time we came back to Heimdall, I thought he was super fucking cool. He was always down to ride. The protector of Asgard and Ragnarok. In fact, as I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, why the fuck is he my 98?
Oh, fathers, give me last final, like the last.
Yeah, oh my god. And Idris Elba, electric. I fucking love Idris Elba. He will be playing. He plays another character that is later on in my list. But yeah, I fuck with Heimdall on a deep level.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a more sizable gap than Cyclops, not by much, but a slight bigger gap. But yeah, I'll talk about. I guess we could save some Heimdall stuff.
I will say my favorite Heimdall moment is in Thor: The Dark World, whenever he senses that the invisible ships are flying by and runs down the bridge and jumps off and just carves into the side of it. I mean, obviously it's not enough, but it was super badass.
Yeah, he's cool. He's sick. But I don't know. Glad he made the list though.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, like I'd probably have him higher. But you'll find that with this,
it's gonna happen.
30.
Yeah.
It's kind of interchangeable. It could be 70. It could be 100. Just depends on the day you're asking me, frankly.
Well, continuing on, my 98, I have the Collector.
Tannelier Tavan or whatever.
Magnificent. And from What If as well. That cool adaptation.
Yeah, What If the Collector was just fucking jacked.
Yeah.
Like that seemed to be his What If, was like, what if he did the exact thing he does, but was just fucking huge.
And in comics, like I haven't read any of his comics, but I've seen like some like clips that go through like a little run of some, of his storyline and stuff. And he like, I don't know, he's just a really cool concept of a character.
And brought to life in a really, really cool way by Benicio del Toro. He's a fantastic actor, and he just kills it. And as Tanner Tavon, but yeah, what a fucking cool character.
Had the reality stone, man.
That's the first one. That's the first one of a few that I'm expecting will be like, fuck, I wish I had him. And I think there's going to be a lot more of that for the both of us than there was in the Star Wars one. Just because like there's just so many characters, so many Marvel and DC characters.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad I kind of
omitted,
forgot about. And you made me realize that whenever you brought up Idris Elba.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I will say another. There were a few Suicide Squad characters who I did consider and ultimately didn't make the cut. Rick Flag, Ratcatcher 2, Polka Dot Man, all of these were considered and didn't end up making the cut. But I do have a few Suicide Squad members on here. But with that, who was your 98?
The Collector.
That's right.
The Collector.
Right. With that, we'll go on to my 97. This is where I have Valkyrie, played by Tessa Thompson. Super badass. Loved her in Thor Ragnarok, and this is one where it's like I love the actress, so I'm counting on the potential that's still there too. Like I know we're gonna get more of Valkyrie, and I just cannot wait for the stories they have to tell. Yeah, and not a ton to say on Valkyrie. She's just a super badass.
New leader of Asgard.
Yeah,
new leader of Asgard,
new king.
Baby. Oh yeah. I have her like coming up pretty soon. I'll just very small gap here, but she's
cool.
My 97, kind of sticking with like the Collector line ish, kind of similar character. This is where I have the Grandmaster, Jeff Goldblum. Just love me some Jeff Goldblum, and I'm so glad he's in the MCU. I think this character just fit him so well.
Oh, it's perfect. It's impeccable. And it just like makes so much sense that like Taika Waititi directing, he got Jeff Goldblum to do this role where he probably just kind of let Jeff Goldblum do whatever the fuck he wanted, because Jeff Goldblum kind of does the same thing for everybody, which is hilarious. Even though he's an incredible actor, he's just like kind of playing the same guy in some different capacity.
These last like I guess Hela was kind of like a serious-ish character, like down here, but like Korg, the Collector, Grandmaster, like like
you got the fun ones down here.
Oh yeah,
I like that. All right. My 96. This is where I have Bloodsport, also played by Idris Elba in the Suicide Squad. Not a huge jump up my list. I can only like him so much. The screaming match he gets into with his daughter during the movie is kind of like, all right, well, you could have handled that better. But I do like that when it came to it down there at the end, he came through for the team and for the people of Corto Maltese, and was like, you know what, we got to eliminate Starro or else he's going to destroy this place, which is, admirable. And therefore, I fuck with Bloodsport, but not enough to propel him super high up the list.
I kind of feel weird. Okay, like I feel weird saying his name now, like this low, but then I see like another like main guy that's like kind of just two right above him. So I guess I don't feel too bad. I just never like really connected with him. I guess it's War Machine. That's where I have I'm
gonna be real with you. He's not on mine.
Yeah, I didn't think he's just kind of like there. He has like, I don't know, he has like some funny moments where he's like, he always likes to tell his war stories, to his buddies, and like, I don't know, like he has some funny moments, and like, why don't we just go back and baby Thanos? He does like the choke him out like thing. He has his moments, but like,
I just don't like. There's some like I like him as a dude whenever he's just whenever he goes down and he gets paralyzed like that. That's a heart-wrenching moment. he's an honest, straight up dude. I loved him in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and his interactions with Sam. But like, there's something about like the career military men that like it's like I feel weird about loving them, especially when the dude's name that he chose was War Machine. I'm like, I don't know, man. There's just something fundamentally that I just can't get behind about that. And therefore, that's ultimately what propelled him down this list. Is I was like, your name is War Machine, and like you chose that, you like that.
True. Yeah. I don't know. He was kind of killing it on Wakanda, though. Like,
don't get me wrong, he is definitely a war machine.
Yeah, he can do
absolutely what
he
he says.
He does live up to his name, yeah. But
yeah, and like he is fighting the wars that are extremely necessary now, and defending humans from an alien invasion.
That's a war I could get behind, I guess.
Yeah, that's a war I can fuck with. Yeah, defend us from the aliens, please.
Yeah, that was 96. Don Cheadle.
All right. With that, my 95 is my first Eternal on the list. Pretty low. This is where I've got Icarus. The boy who flew too close to the sun. So you'll find that Icarus is my lowest Eternal, and there are a couple Eternals who aren't on my list.
Really?
Sprite didn't make my list, and Ajax didn't make my list. I do love Ajax, but I was just like, there's just not enough there for me right now. Like, I hope we can find a way to get Salma Hayek back in the MCU and stuff, but from what I've seen on screen, she was a really admirable character, but like we just didn't get a lot of time to connect with her, and that's kind of how I feel about all the Eternals. Save for a couple. It's like you'll find here in a little bit that they're all kind of in a row, because I appreciate them roughly on the same level. I just know which Eternals I prefer to the other Eternals.
That's fair. Like, where they are kind of down near this bottom isn't really what matters, but like the ranking of each Eternal, like,
yeah, exactly,
is the more important part.
Because I think I have 6 or 7 of them later, and like the 6 or 7 of them occupy those 6 or 7 spots in a row. Like there's no doubt about it for me.
Yeah, mine's just, I have 9 and they're all in a row. No gaps at all.
And that's how the Eternals are working right now. There's just not enough on all of them. And the ones that we did get enough on are the ones who are actually like Icarus. Like, we got a ton of story with Icarus, and the more story we got with him, the less I liked him, because he was like, he just became a bigger and bigger asshole who I couldn't get behind. But, his redemption there at the end or semi-redemption where he, doesn't kill Cersei and decides he's going to fly into the sun.
Does he really die from that, though? I guess whenever the planet explodes, the Celestial protects them, so like that, like, I just don't like.
I feel like he's the only one that's like for sure permanent.
Dead. Like, I don't know. Does that kill?
I don't know.
Celestial?
Ajax and Gilgamesh, like, they got absorbed.
I guess his memories are still there, so like none of them can ever die, and their bodies can just be created whenever. Like,
exactly. Unless
the World Forge or wherever they're made, wherever that happens to be. I don't know if it's separate from the World Forge, but man, I'm ready for any more Eternal stuff. Like, I need.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. And whether Richard Madden returns as Icarus or not, I kind of, there's a part of me that is a fan of this genre and all of this. So, I anticipate a resurrection to a degree, but I'd also be fine if they just kept him dead. One thing I will say about the Eternals is that, like, 10 years ago, this movie is 2 or 3 movies. It's way too big a story that they just shoved into one movie. Can you imagine the payoff of not knowing any of this, and then 3 movies later finding out that Icarus isn't the great hero that you know? Like, I think that
That'd be
with
crazy.
Marvel's accelerated timeline now, always producing projects, we're gonna lose that. You know, lose the slow burn of some stuff. But you know, I gotta be okay with that to a degree. You know, we are getting so much content, and that's gonna make me happy. But you know, I do like a slow burn, and I'd appreciate some more of those.
Oh yeah, maybe a slow burn here. Hopefully, she's in here for a while. This is where I have Kate Bishop.
All right,
Hawkeye
Kate Bishop.
Oh yeah, hopefully this is just the start of her. Hopefully she's part of the new Avengers crew, you know, for a while. Stays there. Hopefully her apartment turns into like a headquarters for a little bit because it's just so cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, like it's fallen into place. She has all the security stuff, you know, from her mom. Like she's Hawkeye now.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's just like there's no way they're just going to let this character go. I hope they have a lot of future plans with her. And yeah, I guess it's kind of just the start. You know, we only have one show of her, so I you know couldn't propel her, you know, that high. But I hope within the future that I believe in the future she will propel herself up. So
this is one where we've got a pretty sizable gap just based on that one show, which is cool. Now I'm curious to see where your Cyclops and Heimdall fell to, like, compared to what the Kate Bishop gap is. Like, it'll be interesting. But
I'll tell you.
All right.
I mean, it's both of them are in the top 50, Cyclops and Heimdall for me. So just a check.
All right, cool.
In there.
Then not quite as sizable, but you know, that's a good 95 though. That's a good 95. And with that, I'll go on to my 94. This is where I have Nebula. I like the Guardians crew, but Nebula's always just kind of gotten on my nerves. You know, and I think with good reason. Like her character was always supposed to kind of, you're supposed to be like, damn man, I just hope you get that shit together. Like, because it sucks dealing with all this right now, man. Like when she chases Gamora down on Ego and tries to shoot her dead, and then Gamora saves her, and but you do feel bad. You feel bad for Nebula, you know, like every time she lost growing up, Thanos replaced a part of her, and that's devastating. It's going to create someone who is hard to be around.
Oh yeah, crazy how she was like the key to let Thanos know that he won and to go into the future to win or to try to win again. You know, like through Nebula, Thanos found out that he won, which was just kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that he was inevitable, you know, or whatever. But yeah,
he truly was inevitable.
Oh no, it's kind of interesting. All of these that you're mentioning, like they're like the gap is, you know, kind of like, you know, large, whatever, but like Cyclops, Heimdall, Nebula, like they're all just kind of like falling near, like they're all near each other, like on my list as well.
That's interesting. Yeah, I love when shit
but
like that
in
happens.
reverse order, which is like the order that you listed them in. I have them like flipped, but all like relatively the same gap between them though. So
that's funny. That's fucking funny. But yeah, all right. So that was my 94, Nebula.
My 94. This is where Ant-Man falls for me.
All right. All right.
You know, that's why, like I said, like War Machine being like a main guy this low, and like I saw Ant-Man's name like 2 above him, and I felt a little more comfortable because I don't know, Ant-Man. It's crazy that he is this low. I don't know. I just don't connect with him as much as the other heroes for some reason. Like he's funny and like the movies are entertaining and concepts are great.
There's just something that's not hitting right with the Ant-Man franchise right now. Because I'm right there with you. Scott Lang is my 93, or no, he's my 92. Shit, sorry, skipped that. But so he'll be up in a couple spots. But you know, there's just something like, and he's the highest of anyone from the Ant-Man franchise. Everyone else, I don't have Wasp, I don't have Hope Van Dyne, I don't have Hank Pym. I don't have any of these characters, Ghost or any of that, just because like the movies just are kind of dull in comparison to some other stuff that Marvel's
Mm.
done for me. And it's funny, you know, it's entertaining and it's enjoyable to watch. But as soon as I'm done watching it, I'm not like, man, can't wait to rewatch that the next time I watch it. You know, it's like, okay, well, I won't watch that again for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I hope Quantumania changes that. You know, I hope it sort of seems like it's dealing with cooler stuff just innately already. So it'd probably be more of like an important movie.
I anticipate this being the best of the Ant-Man trilogy, to be sure,
Mhm.
especially written by Jeff Loveness, who wrote the first episode of season 5 of Rick and Morty, the Mr. Nimbus.
Mhm.
And
I
the
am
the
Mr.
whole,
Nimbus.
you know, Morty visiting the alternate reality where time moves faster, and they develop a whole society and culture around.
All right, you want to go? You want to go? And he straps up and he gets everything.
Destroys the society.
Leaves one little thing and it propels them, you know, like 5 billion years in the future or whatever, you know, like,
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's it's being written by that guy who's clearly got a knack for this funny sci-fi writing. So I think that Quantumania can only be a step in the right direction for Ant-Man.
Oh yeah. But I don't know. Interesting to see like a big name like this far down. I don't know. I wouldn't initially think that like Ant-Man would be in the 90s. You know, I don't know. Like before I would start the list, I'd be like, oh, Ant-Man probably in the top 50 somewhere. He's a main guy, but like,
nah,
it's just too strong.
He's just not. He's just not. You know. And I've got a main guy here at my 93. This is where I've got Clint Barton, Hawkeye. Didn't propel up my list too far. You know, Hawkeye, the series Hawkeye propelled him in ways I couldn't have anticipated. You know, like I didn't like this character, the incarnation we were getting on screen with Jeremy Renner. I've always liked the comics character. I feel like he's a lot cooler than the government agent we've gotten, like hardcore serious guy that we've gotten on screen with Jeremy Renner. But I think they enhanced his character greatly in Hawkeye. Clearly not enough to really propel him up my list, but enough for him to be in the top 100. There was a time when he wasn't, to be sure. And
yeah, I mean, without the show, I mean, I think
I'd still be pretty low on him.
Show did well to explain some things, give him some more depth. So yeah, I mean, he's a little higher up on mine. So I guess I'll save a little bit because I don't even think I have much to say about him. Anyway,
I'll mention a couple moments later on when you bring him up. But
my 93, this is my first DC character, and it's either Ra's or Raz, but this is Ra's al Ghul.
Interesting, yes.
And video game, live action, just like anywhere that he is. You know, he's Liam Neeson. He's in the video games. He's also badass. You know, the Lazarus Pit. Like the whole concept of Ra's is cool. Him in Gotham, the Netflix show, was really really good.
You know, my favorite Ra's al Ghul conflict in all of comic book media was with Green Arrow and Arrow.
Oh, that's what I meant, not Gotham. That's what I meant, Arrow. That's what I remember because I don't think he is in Gotham. Actually,
I've never watched Gotham, so I was just rolling with you.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, him and Arrow is fucking
awesome.
Yeah, that arc was so good.
Yeah, the League of Assassins and all of that. Like, he's a really, really interesting character. And now that I'm talking about it, I want to go fucking rewatch Green Arrow. But yeah, like he was a great addition to that show, and that's probably my favorite adaptation of Ra's al Ghul to this point. Batman Begins has a pretty solid Ra's al Ghul adaptation, but I'm not a huge fan of the whole Batman not killing by omitting his ability to prevent someone from dying. Like, I don't know, man. I felt a little weird to me, but nevertheless, I do fuck with the character. Ra's al Ghul is definitely a cool one.
Without him, we don't have Batman, kinda. No. I don't know. He's I feel like I felt like I had to include him. I'm gonna go on like a little DC run here for a little.
I have the DC ones peppered in here pretty sparsely throughout, but we'll get to it. We'll get to my second DC here in a little bit. But my 92, as you already said, Scott Lang.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of said it all about him. He's funny. He's cool. The concept's awesome. Just hasn't been brought to life in a way that I really care about.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was whenever I watched Endgame and he was such a massive part of the first 40, 45, 50 minutes, I was like, wow, definitely didn't see that coming.
I think,
that's probably my favorite Ant-Man content is him in Endgame.
mm-hmm. I was thinking it's either that or What If when he's just ahead,
Yeah, it's not his movies.
Mm-hmm.
His movies just aren't. They don't do much for me, and I like Paul Rudd, so I don't know what's not hitting correctly about it. To contrast with Clint Barton, I don't fuck with Jeremy Renner, and he's still one spot below Scott Lang when I love Paul Rudd. So it's definitely a character based thing there, and I don't know what it is, but just not hitting right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully the future's better for him.
And here's the thing, top 100 here, I do like all these characters regardless. It's not I'm I don't fuck with Ant-Man, that's why he's mine. No, I do fuck with Ant-Man, just not as much as I fuck with other characters.
Moving on, my 92, a Batman villain. Sticking with DC here, is Deadshot. I guess we have a little bit of him in the first Suicide Squad.
Yes, with Will Smith.
Which was cool to see. But the adaptation that I like the most is in video games and some of the cartoons and animated Batman movies. He was kind of cool. And he's just the concept of him, he can ricochet shot, any shot this guy can hit, there's no shot that he can't hit, and it's one shot, one kick, he does what he wants to do. His reputation is just so badass and just such a cool villain. Even though he just is a sniper basically, but it made just a shooting guy way cooler in my opinion.
I agree.
And I don't know. I like the Batman villains, not as much as Spidey villains or whatever, but they're really the only two that have just an amazing list of villains. And
the Rogues gallery there is just fantastic. But that's a good one to kick off the Batman villain ones. I do not have Deadshot on my list, but one of my favorite adaptations of Deadshot's actually also in Arrow. The storyline where he stands opposed to Diggle.
That's right.
Having killed Diggle's brother, and then having Diggle and him having storylines together throughout the show. It's another really interesting side story in that show. Yeah, that's the thing is that for the first few seasons of that show, they really fucking kill it. It's actually really really entertaining and really well done. I like Slade Wilson's adaptation in that movie or in that show. Fantastic. Malcolm Merlyn, completely forgot about him.
Damn.
That's a strong villain in season 1, but yeah, Deadshot. That's a strong one. Now this is the one that I said in the Patreon that he's going to come in pretty low, and you're going to be like, really? 91. This is where I have the Mad Titan Thanos.
Okay. Very, very low. This is definitely the biggest gap so far. But
I do like the villain. Specifically in Infinity War. It's crazy upon rewatches of Endgame how much it does to counter how much I liked him in Infinity War. I don't know what it is about Endgame that I'm just this doesn't it lost its steam with Thanos for me in Endgame. I mean, he was obviously a big bad villain, but
that's true.
That's ultimately what he became in Endgame. He didn't have any nuance to him. There was no well, I'm doing this for a genuine purpose. No, I'm gonna wipe the universe down to the last atom and rebuild. That's That's where I was like, I don't know that the Thanos in Infinity War would have done that. But, it's not the Thanos from Infinity War. It's so
a 5 like it's a past version of Thanos that thinks he knows everything that he went through, but he doesn't at all. Like
no.
it's like more radical Thanos with the knowledge that he had, like in the future, which is like just that whole time travel thing and the thing.
Well, my thing is that I think he will be an iconic villain, an iconic character for our generation in general. He was one of the highest grossing films of all times, prominent villain, the saga's villain over the course of a franchise. Like that's really, really cool. And
fine,
and you asked me this 3 years ago, 2019, we're in 2018. Like this guy's a lot higher on my list, but I've since cooled on him because of Endgame and the years after where I haven't revisited Endgame,
Yeah, he's I don't know, that'll be a pretty sizable gap. He'll come up a little bit later on my list. Definitely top 50. That's for sure. But yeah, interesting.
All right.
Not that hot of a take. I wouldn't say like.
No, yeah, it's like I don't fuck with the dude who's killing all the people. That's all right.
Fair. Well, I'm sticking with another villain, not a Thanos, level villain here. Still in DC, still with Batman. This is where Mr. Freeze is for me. And my favorite adaptation, most memorable, is like probably the video games in Arkham. But Arnold Schwarzenegger and the puns and like, I mean, come on, man. Like I
keep some ice.
You can't have a better Mr. Freeze than that. Like, it's just, I don't know. I felt like, I don't know, like the 90s was kind of just characters that like I thought were fun, or some
they
of them
could
were
bring
a
that
little serious,
to life
but
in such a fun comic booky way. And Mr. Freeze is definitely one of those, and that is the reason he appears later on my list. I have Mr. Freeze above Thanos by like quite a bit, and it's like because of Arnold Schwarzenegger's adaptation, which
amazing.
is just like isn't that hilarious? Like, and that's why I'm ultimately saying it's about favorites. It's not about who's the best character, because obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze is not Josh Brolin's Thanos.
Yeah, my view on villains is like a little like I appreciate villains, and like when I come like favorite characters, like I don't really think of all the bad things that they do, because like Ultron being one of my favorite characters in the MCU in general, like obviously I don't agree with what that guy does. So
and I will say, like there is a level where we get to a point where it's like, this is just how much I like stories with him. Stories involving. I'm kind of like, I think the thing is that I'm kind of cool on the Thanos. Like I'm cool if I never see Thanos in my media again. There are other villains where I'm like, I want them back.
Fair.
Like that's kind of where I'm at. But Thanos doesn't really climb that list. I'd love to see Mr. Freeze again. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine we
like,
get him in Batman. Or I mean, already got him in Batman.
Oh,
crazy when he showed up there.
Dude, it's crazy that Mr. Freeze showed
Arnold
up on
Schwarzenegger
screen.
and all. Crazy they just went with him again.
And just stuck Colin Farrell's whole nose in his mouth.
Wow, crazy appearance.
Crazy happenings there. But yeah, 91. All right, and you want to just do 90 here? All right, then my 90. I'm gonna stick with DC, and this is one where I kind of cheated. I got two in one spot here.
That's all right.
I got Martha and John Kent, the parents who raised Clark Kent. I've come to appreciate Superman a lot more in recent weeks and recent months and in recent years, with Superman and Lois and the adaptations we've been getting there. And I watched some Smallville, and that was really where I was like, oh, this is where I got my love for Martha Kent and John Kent. They're what instilled that hopeful nature in Clark Kent. Their support for him knows no bounds, and they recognize the greatness that he would one day achieve. And I think it would have been blasphemous for me especially just coming off of a strong Superman run recently, where I was like, they're fresh on my mind. I love Superman right now. I gotta have John and Martha Kent on my list.
I gotta watch Superman and Lois. I don't know. Gotta watch more Superman stuff. Because I don't know, he's himself, Superman is pretty. I don't have his parents on my list.
Gotcha.
But him himself, he's pretty high up there. And I don't know, it's not off a lot because I don't really watch a lot of Superman a whole lot, but
it's just something he stands for. That's just really, really awesome in terms of just pretty much unrivaled in iconicism. We'll get there, but yeah.
But I guess 90. I'm sticking with another villain still, but going back to Marvel. This is where Electro is for me.
I'm glad you got Electro on your list. I was like, I think Joe will get it. I won't worry about it.
And like the way, like Jamie Foxx's, adaptation is I think the one that most people jump to, obviously. But like the way they made like the comic book yellow, like 5-pointed mask, like come to life, like in live action was just so cool. I
loved that. And frankly, I loved that cartoony ass costume too. Like that's fun as fuck. If they just wanted to throw somebody in that, I'd be okay with it. But there's like another, I brought it to Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 earlier with Doctor Doom, but this is another villain where I had a lot of fun playing against Electro in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. He was a fun one.
Concept, dude, the story Electro. Concept of, like in No Way Home, like, do I really want to be doing this? Like, is this really what I want here? Or like, I know, a lot of back and forth with him, which was really cool. And, I don't know. I just thought, that
you're not nobody, Max. You were never nobody.
They executed him well. In my opinion. So.
Oh, I think so too. I think so too. And Electro, that's a good one. That's a good one. And with that, on to my 89, piggybacking off of Martha and John Kent last pick. I decided I'd go Aunt May and Uncle Ben. The impact they make on Peter Parker is, it's similar to the one that Martha and John Kent kind of had on Clark Kent. Raising the child from a young age to have the good values that he does, and humble beginnings, not extravagant. They're pretty rural farmer or struggling in New York. I think that's a cool little parallel between the characters, and their upbringings reflect it. I think and their good hearts kind of reflect it too. That they're willing to help anybody, and I think that can be traced back to Aunt May and Uncle Ben, along with John and Martha Kent. Oh, yeah.
It feels like Aunt May and Uncle Ben are almost like absolute fixed points in a Spidey's timeline. Like, they all have their Uncle Ben, or now their Aunt May moment. Their with great power moment, I guess you could just sum that up in that. But, man, I think it's, I'm glad they just didn't go with like Uncle Ben again, and like the same old for Tom. It's kind of,
because that was kind of what made people go, what are we doing here with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man? Was like, because it obviously wasn't the same story. They put their spins on it with his dad being a scientist who was studying this along with Connors and stuff like that. But no one really gave a shit. Like, I was like, so we're just going to go ahead and kill Uncle Ben again. We're going to have the same origin story. It was refreshing. It was refreshing to see Tom Holland's, and I think now we can look back on Andrew Garfield's and appreciate it for what it was, as I do 100%. But at the time, I think people were protective of Tobey's Spider-Man, weren't open to a new one. Then they recycled the same origin story, put it to screen again, and it was like, we've already done this before. What do we? So Tom Holland's was a refreshing change of pace, especially when Homecoming came out. I'm expecting kind of same old. I'm gonna meet Uncle Ben, all this, and we kick it off, and it's just Aunt May already. There is no Uncle Ben.
Who knows where Uncle Ben? A sleaze bag, right? Or like, is that what we? Like, or I don't know. I guess I don't really remember what they said about it, but I thought there was a line
that he's dead.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a line where Tom Holland says, like, after all Aunt May's been through, I can't do that to her. Like, it's in Homecoming when he's trying to express to Ned that he can't tell May. she's already been through so much. I can't tell her this too. It'd just be too much. She'd be too worried. So yeah, I think Uncle Ben's already dead in the MCU trilogy.
Interesting. I for some reason I thought I remembered a line that was like Aunt May said something along the lines where you got the idea that Uncle Ben wasn't the best guy or something like that. That they or I don't know that I don't know. I don't know why I remember that, but I think now that you say that though, like remembering him being dead makes more sense. I wonder if they'll ever. Probably not. I mean, because obviously Aunt May was the moment. Like that was Tom's moment. Was with Aunt May. Like, well, obviously wasn't with the Uncle Ben off screen. That we wouldn't have seen at all. But I wonder if they'll ever like come back on that, or if it's just
rehash it, kind of unpack that with him too. Because I also get the impression that maybe he didn't really have much of a relationship with his Uncle Ben. I think there's at least. If he did, he doesn't express it a lot. He doesn't mourn it a lot. He doesn't seem to be remembering him too much. He has the suitcase with BP on it, I think, for Ben Parker, which I remember being cool. But like other than that though, like you don't even get a mention of Uncle Ben's name in the trilogy. So it's like it was just an interesting little bit there that like they went a whole new direction with it. But yeah, so at my 89, I've got Aunt May and Uncle Ben.
Very different characters for our 89. This is where a big boy comes in, Galactus.
Galactus
couldn't be like more opposite characters.
Doesn't feel like,
but I think his time is soon in the MCU. It's seeming like just be perfect if the Fantastic Four, is coming in anyways. We can bring just all of them in. We can bring Silver Surfer, bring in Galactus, just like all right, get it, boom. But what we've gotten of Galactus so far, I feel like he had to be on this list. Like Marvel, when you think of villains, I feel like Galactus is
that's a pretty prominent one.
Oh yeah, he's not. I guess he's no like Thanos, or he's not the I don't know, a main one that you think of right away, but like,
and I don't know that Thanos was
true. Well, I'm just saying, like, whenever you mention Marvel villain, like just to anyone,
it's
Thanos. It's just Thanos. Like that's who everyone thinks of.
But yeah, I'd certainly say that prior to his rise through the MCU films, that Galactus might have had the upper hand in terms of who was a more memorable Marvel villain. You know what I'm saying?
That boy Galactus is a menace. He doesn't care. He just consumes.
He's just hungry, bro. He just want to eat. He want to eat.
Silver. I think it's on Silver Surfer, the animated cartoon. Like his ship and those weird like
tentacles
that come down and just suck all the everything out, and like, man, that's just what a thing. Like crazy how they're gonna bring it into live action. Like we got a glimpse a little bit with like Hiroshima to see like what just something big would look like, but it'll be because I don't know, like Galactus is a lot more human looking, like, and I'm curious if like.
He is much more human looking, and if I recall, I think he's a little smaller than Arishem is actually. I mean, not by much. He's still going to be massive in scale, like obviously, but like in certain adaptations I've seen, Galactus isn't the 500-foot being that we see him as sometimes.
Can he like change his size?
I get the impression that's a thing, but.
Because I feel like he can just like be small and like go down to a planet, like if need be, like.
I've listened to there's an audio story for a podcast called Marvel. It might be called The Marvels, and it's about the Fantastic Four intercepting a invasion by Galactus, and they call him a 30-foot giant. Which is nowhere near the size of Arishem. So I get the impression that he can...
30 feet?
Yeah.
That's not like big at all.
It's because he's on the earth, like he's on
okay,
top of a skyscraper.
So whenever he okay, fair.
Yeah, so like you were saying, like if he can shrink down to visit a planet, he's still not shrinking down tiny. He's still going to be 30 feet tall.
Sure, yeah, he's not going to go like human size. He's not going to be like 6 foot. Yeah,
no.
Limit is like 30, probably. That's fair. But that's interesting that he can. I don't know. I don't know much about him.
And I don't even know if that's the case. That's just like I've heard that in that audio podcast, and I've seen him be much bigger than 30 feet. So it's like
definitely bigger than 30. Yeah. Like 30 miles.
Yeah, some shit like that.
So maybe, not light year. That was a little too far, maybe there. Well,
a little too vast.
Well, actually, if he's eating galaxies at some points, he technically is like light years tall. So, that's insane. Wow.
We're getting technical with it.
But what a stark difference between our 89s there.
That's quite the start there with Aunt May and Uncle Ben versus Galactus.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we should compare each slot and see who would win in a fight.
I think this one, Aunt May and Uncle Ben, Galactus doesn't stand a chance.
No, Aunt May.
They got the responsibility. They'll just teach Galactus a lesson. They'll be like,
Galactus shrinks down to the size of a baby and asks them to raise him.
Yeah, they convince him that all the planet destroying and consuming.
To start over.
Yes, you have made me realize what I've been doing is wrong. Eating.
You're gonna have to feed the shit out of me, though.
True. I'm a hungry boy.
I'm a hungry boy.
It's my full-time job, basically.
It's all I do. But yeah, all right. With that, we'll go on to my 88, and this is where I have Mantis of the Guardians crew. I came to really appreciate her in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and even more so in Infinity War when she throws out, take ass, kick names. Mm-hmm. It's fucking fantastic. Mm-hmm. I think she's hilarious. Her and Drax's back and forth is really cute. You are hideous. But that's okay. Because when you're ugly and people love you, they love you for who you are.
Oh, man. They're so literal, So just, I don't know. Yeah, Drax and Mantis, that
moment where they're looking together. Out over the planet. And she touches his shoulder and just breaks down, and it's like, oh no!
Instantly, just felt all that pain.
Oh my
instantly.
God, it's just a really interesting connection there, and
I have them together on my list. It'll be in a while, in a little bit, but they're together. I felt like it was only fitting that they would be together, but
when she puts Ego to sleep, that's a great moment.
That's wild.
I really fuck with that moment. They did what Druig was supposed to try to do.
Damn.
And couldn't do.
True.
Put a Celestial to sleep.
And Mantis did that by herself.
Yeah.
None of that. Damn. Whoa. What's the power ranking there?
Never thought about that side by side, huh? They mentioned Thanos. Well, Ego seems like a different kind of Celestial. It's like there's something weird there.
I guess he's half human. Or is he?
He's not.
Or is he full
100%
No,
Celestial.
yeah, it's just he made a human form. Yeah. So Peter's the only one who's half human.
No, yeah. So
we're just calling him Peter there for some reason. I don't know why. Just Quill. Peter is more Spider-Man, part. I don't know what. That was just weird.
I completely got the context though. We were talking.
Yeah. But yeah, that's.
Yeah, Mantis put a Celestial to sleep. Druid cannot.
All right, Mantis.
Much to think about.
OP. Kept Thanos asleep for a good while there with full I don't know if the gauntlet helped him in that, if he had the gauntlet off, would it be easier to make him fall asleep, or is it have no effect? Is it just
my bet is that the reason it worked on Ego is because it was an attack he wasn't prepared for. while Thanos was actively trying to fight it. So there's probably something to that too. Like if you're
True.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Mantis. Yeah, she'll come up later in mine. I hold the Guardians too high up. I couldn't like.
I've got plenty of Guardians to come, believe me.
Mm-hmm. But all right. Sticking with kind of large enemies. At my 88 is Kang the Conqueror. And I guess this involves, maybe just Kang. So
He Who
He Who
Remains,
Remains is
Immortus,
up in there, so we can
that.
have some live action of him. But oh boy, I'm ready for Kang to enter in. We've gotten the nicest form of him, pretty much. So
man, and Jonathan Majors fucking rocks in that role. That Loki finale is just so much fun to watch, even just on its own. Like,
and still we're like, we don't really know. Like what he like, it seemed, I don't know. Like maybe he was truly just done, like he just was like, all right, I've lived for so long, I've seen everything, I've controlled everything, basically. Like, what more could I have? All right, here I go. I'm dead, but I know in another form, will come and do the same thing, whatever. But like, I feel like he has some plan still. Like it's not. I don't think he was just truly going away. And
no,
but man, he's just so interesting. And
no, yeah, it'll be really interesting. He's a descendant of Reed Richards. And in comic books, it's interesting that he had the Council of Kangs, while Reed Richards had the Council of Reeds once upon a time, which is the inspiration for Rick and Morty's Council of Ricks, the Council of Reeds.
That is awesome.
But yeah, Kang the Conqueror. I look forward to seeing him more and more. The comics I have read with him, they've been interesting. He's just a fascinating cat. Like, I don't know what to expect going forward from this character in the MCU, especially since they've already taken it in such an interesting, strange direction, where they've already amalgamated a couple variants of Kang, and so it's like, what are we going to be getting?
He's like just human from the 3rd century or whatever, right? Or like 30th or something like that. Like just something human, like right? Like, yeah, that's nuts. And he one of the most feared people in the entire multiverse. Like,
I'm telling you, that man is the MCU's Rick Sanchez.
Damn. Yeah. Badass. Oh, I can't wait till we get more Kang.
Yeah, that'll be magical. That'll be magical. But with that, I'll move on to my 87. And this is where I have I think this is the first character from Black Panther on my list. I have Nakia here, played by Lupita Nyong'o. She's the love interest for Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa. She's the one who kind of opens his mind to the potentiality of opening Wakanda. And I think I really look forward to seeing her more. I don't know why we haven't already. The only appearance she has under her belt right now is Black Panther, and it seems fascinating that she wasn't in Infinity War or Endgame. But nevertheless, I really look forward to whatever the future holds for her. Lupita Nyong'o is a fucking fantastic actress, and anytime we get some Marvel Star Wars crossover with Nakia and Maz Kanata, I'm gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people don't give her credit for opening up Wakanda, but I don't think if she talked to T'Challa in that way, I don't think he thinks of it right away. I don't know. I think
it's just really interesting. I want her to be a much bigger part of what they're doing in Wakanda, just because the whole she's a Wakandan spy who was going undercover and everything, and she's not technically a part of the Dora Milaje. She's not a Dora Milaje, but she's just her own. She's just a Wakandan spy doing shit, and I just think that's a really, really cool concept, and I'd love to see her get folded into the MCU and in a greater capacity. But yeah, so my 87 is Nakia.
She could have her own show of her just going around Earth helping people. Maybe they're saving it for that or something. and that's why we haven't seen her. I don't know. That'd be
I kind of
sick.
hope we get like a whole Wakandan series set
Mm.
around the Dora and Nakia and Shuri, even like just kind of like.
Be a sick
I feel like
concept,
Wakanda is extremely fruitful for series. Like that feels like it could be such a good television concept. Is just
could like
keeping
I
up
don't
with
like
Wakanda.
be sick if Marvel like actually adapted like the idea of Wakanda and like use like money like to I don't know, like push forward like for advancement, you know, like had this like whole thing where they just played on it and saying like it's the Wakanda initiative and it's like but like bring it into the real world sort of thing.
I get
Like
you.
the show could
Try to
just be,
advance technology
like,
and
the show could just be like cool ways that like I don't know, green energies that they have in Wakanda or whatever, and then like I don't know, like show off that like parallel it or something. Be I don't know, be good PR and
it would certainly would.
And a good show. I don't know. I love it. Just Wakanda's just so cool and like crazy that like it's new. You know, like that's like a new like just in Black Panther. Like from there, like I don't know, and it's been there the whole time. You know, like it's been there for so long. Oh, but that's a good 87. Kind of another quite opposite character. It's my first Daredevil character here. And it's, well, I guess he's kind of his own too, but the Punisher, it's where he sits. And mainly for, I mean, his Daredevil appearances, I haven't watched the Punisher show, so like I would assume he's great in there too. But like he really does, like his acting is just so, like his performance is so good. And it somehow makes you care about a character that just shoots people with a gun. You know, like a guy with a gun doesn't really seem like a hero. Like on the surface level, but like, I don't know. He goes crazy. That's for sure. He does a lot of crazy stuff, but, I don't know, just a super interesting character. And like a contrast to Daredevil. Like I'm you with one slip, you know, sort of thing. Like, you become me, you know, with one little slip up or stuff like that. And their whole like dyad that they basically had was just super cool. So I had to include him.
No, yeah, I like that. I like that pick. Frank Castle, yeah. My opinion of him changed completely when I watched Daredevil. You know, I'd only known him as this kind of symbol that, you know, a lot of people who like the Second Amendment like to glom onto, and a lot of I remember I associated it a lot with the thin blue line, you know. But the more you get to know Frank Castle, the more you know he absolutely would not fuck with that.
It's funny that
at all.
Like, he's like their spokesperson almost, like that those people go to, and if you actually know his character,
like it's and on a surface level, yes, it can very much so appear that way, but it's more about the damages that these freedoms can do. Is like that it can result in a Frank Castle type beat, and you know, one of my favorite Frank Castle stories is actually a comic story where Frank Castle becomes the Ghost Rider.
Whoa.
And not only that, he is the cosmic Ghost Rider. So he is he rides through outer space, and I can't remember if it's that he traveled back in time to raise baby Thanos, or or he was a baby and Thanos raised him, or it was one or the other. And like it was like, what the fuck?
What
I think it was baby
storyline.
Thanos.
Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely fucking bonkers. If you ever can like YouTube or something, I'm sure they have some sort of adaptation. Cosmic Ghost Rider. It is fucking crazy. But yeah, Frank Castle. That's a good 87 for sure. But with that, on to my 86, and this is where I have another DC installation here. In King Shark. Not away.
I'm glad Suicide Squad's getting recognized because
absolutely, and you know, even more so than Sylvester Stallone's performance in the Suicide Squad. I love King Shark in the Harley Quinn animated series. He's voiced by Ron Funches in that, who is just absolutely fucking hilarious, and he's same deal though. You know, He'll get the job done. Obviously, he is a shark after all. However, he's got a heart of gold on him. You know, he cares. He wants to be loved. He wants to love. It's really cute, and I love me some King Shark, especially in the Suicide Squad. That movie, he was fantastic. The connection he forms with the Ratcatcher too, and stuff like that. It's fantastic. But
he's so cute, but so dangerous at the same time. He's
yeah, it's like I wouldn't go anywhere near him, but that's cute.
Man, I'm sad that I just don't have him on my list though. Sorry, King Shark. Just forgot about the Suicide Squad. But my 86 is Monica Rambeau. And I'm just super curious on what her character is going to turn into, and any connection to Captain Marvel there could be cool to see. And I don't know, like her powers just seem super cool and interesting, and we're like just starting with her.
Yeah, this is the largest difference so far. I like that. So far, I think the two largest differences have been Kate Bishop and Monica Rambeau, which is just really interesting. That tracks, that I think the reason for both is probably, you haven't got to see a lot of them, therefore they haven't climbed.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, they climbed for me because I just immediately was like, yeah, I love this character.
Like, I have the feeling that they're going to be very lovable characters for sure. Oh, it's just like at this time, like 100%. I wouldn't put them above whatever right now, but in the near future, like I'm assuming like these are our new Avengers, or whatever they happen to call themselves, or like Kate Bishop, Yelena maybe. Hopefully we get some more Yelena. Maybe that's more on like the Val anti-hero side. But Monica, I don't know. I'm really excited for the future and all these new characters that we're getting. So
that's a good one. With my 85, it's one that you've already said. This is where I've got Jeff Goldblum's The Grand Master. Super funny fucking character. He really made the stuff on Sakaar for Thor Ragnarok for my money. I think without him, it could have been a little weird there. And it not in the good way that it was weird. I have a nice little headcanon that the reason Loki and the Grandmaster got along so well and so immediately is that there was a little bit of a romantic, not so much romantic, but perhaps sexual encounter that came with Loki and the Grandmaster when he arrived on Sakaar. Gained his favor rather quickly.
What's is there like any backstory on his staff thing? Like
the melting stick?
Yeah, that thing's insane. Like I thought it was just purely decorative at first, like whenever I was first watching it. Yeah. And then like I don't know, I just thought that I don't know. His character's just hilarious. And just super fun.
Smells like toast.
I don't know. Just any Jeff Goldblum content, I'm down for.
Oh, absolutely, and yep. So ultimately, that's what I've got there at 85, the Grand Master.
Well, my 85 is one you've already mentioned. This is where I have Valkyrie. Leader of Asgard, new Asgard. Curious to see where that goes. And like how Asgard rebuilds and stuff, if they'll stay on Earth, or find a planet or something, who knows. But it seems like Valkyrie's going to be at the lead of that. Love any Westworld connections. I just like to think, in the multiverse, Westworld's a part of the MCU now. And all these people it's just their variants in their lives or whatever. But
absolutely.
Yeah, she I don't know. She just fits this role really well. And she, I don't know.
Oh, knocks it out of the fucking park.
Oh, yeah. Badass.
Yeah, Valkyrie's that's a queen right there. That's a queen, no doubt.
Is she the last remaining
Valkyrie? I think so.
Damn. That was so sad. Like seeing all of them fight together and
that was epic.
Asgard is some magical, beautiful
That's some magic
stuff.
Shit right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, go on to my 84. Like that we have the Thor Ragnarok connection there at 85, though. Grandmaster and Valkyrie. At my 84, this is where I have Marvel's most classic speedster, Quicksilver.
Oh, wow.
Is that going to be a pretty big difference?
I don't think it's the biggest. No, it's not the biggest. I think Thanos is the biggest, but this one's kind of close.
All right, cool. Yeah,
no. Never mind. Not as big. Medium sized gap here. But
yeah. I my thing with Quicksilver is that like I haven't been one for the speedsters overall. You know, that's never been my favorite super ability. Just super fast, but I will say the MCU adaptation and the X-Men adaptation have done wonders for this character for me. You know, I really liked Aaron Taylor Johnson's portrayal of Pietro Maximoff in Age of Ultron, and I can't believe this man went down for fucking Clint Barton.
True, but I guess we wouldn't have Kate Bishop if you know. So
yeah, it's true. But we also would have more Quicksilver.
True. And with Wanda and everything, and like maybe what does that change? You know, like that probably changes the whole. That's a big what if there. Yeah. What if Hawkeye dies?
Maybe that's one they do. What if Hawkeye died there?
What if Quicksilver just ran? He could have just grabbed them for both of them. But what if he just grabs the kid, just leaves Hawkeye to die? And that's the what if. Like,
I'm also like, what did he do? He ran over there, pushed them out of the way, and then ran back to where he was, where he got hit by the bullets.
Wait a minute. Wait, yeah. That doesn't really make... Yeah.
None of it makes sense. He's a speedster. He's faster than bullets.
True. I guess they just needed a way to kill him, I guess.
They did. And, you know, it does launch Wanda's story in the direction it's gone, and she's become a very, very high-level character for me in terms of where she'll rank on this list. So, you know, I'll take what I can get, you know. But on the brighter side, in terms of Quicksilver story, I think they knocked it out of the park with Evan Peters. You know,
I had
sweet dreams are made of this.
Oh, yeah. That's like... This is a speedster that was done right. Like, I prefer Quicksilver over the Flash. Like,
this specific, I took into everything, like everything I've ever read and everything with them. But if I was going like specifically that Quicksilver, you know, I probably do too. Like, it's just, like that is genuinely one of the coolest portrayals of a speedster ever.
And I had an oh shit moment here, and I realized I didn't include the Flash on here. He should definitely be on here.
Yeah. I have him, so don't worry. We'll get there.
That's good. I hope so. I don't know. I can't believe I forgot about the Flash. You know what? I might just take Aquaman off and just replace him with the Flash. Because
I'd be willing to allow you to just put a little slash and just be like Aquaman / the Flash. Like they're both here.
I guess because Aquaman, I just kind of put on there as like he's part, you know, the Justice League, and it's, you know, Khal Drogo, cool, you know, like. Cool, like his performance is pretty cool. Like, and that movie surprised me, and I'm like, okay, I'll put him up there. But it was kind of just like just to put another DC up, you know, not an actual like deep rooted like spot. But sorry, Flash, you're I don't know, I don't know what to say. I'm just.
But yeah, so that's why I've got Quicksilver at my 84.
Yes, my 84 is Pepper Potts.
Glad you included her. I did not. I thought about it, but ultimately didn't go with it.
She needs the recognition. Tony doesn't. I don't know. Tony's not Tony without Pepper. He becomes a way different man. Pepper keeps Tony in line. Takes out the garbage whenever she needs to. every now and then. And I don't know,
Hey,
just
her and
just
Iron Man 3 was bad ass.
Mhm. And her showing up in Endgame, in a suit, fighting alongside Tony, her and just like up in the air spinner, like, oh my god, come on, like
My
I
mom
didn't,
never wears the things I get her.
I, I never thought that I would see Pepper Potts in a suit fighting in the biggest battle of the the galaxy of the universe, at that time, but I loved every second of it, and but yeah, I don't know. Just Pepper thinks she deserves some recognition for running Stark Industries. That's her and Vision, basically,
Legendary.
running that company, and keeping Tony in line. So figured I had to put her on here.
I'm glad you did. I was hoping you would. She was definitely another one of those that almost made the cut, but didn't quite climb into my list just because there are so many characters that are so fucking fun. Just so many that are so fun. And, for example, my 83. I have Cable, of the X-Men, fame.
Okay.
This is one that, on screen it has been adapted in Deadpool 2, by Josh Brolin. And it's a really, 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 really cool adaptation with the going back in time to kill the child responsible, doing what War Machine suggested. Why don't we just go back in time? And he sought to do that. He went back in time to kill this kid, just because he killed his family later on down the line. And him ultimately sacrificing his way home in order to save Deadpool, which was like, holy shit, what a moment of coming back around there, huh? Another one of my favorite, one of my general favorite costume designs is Cable in the X-Men animated series, which is a pretty classic Cable look. He's just a really cool character, all in all.
Yeah, his kit is super cool too. Like his whole, like the technology and everything. But the ending of Deadpool 2, like, was so like, you have it's also contrasted by like Deadpool dying like 5 times, or coming back and stuff. But like,
man.
that
was it.
That's the beauty of Deadpool, is you can have that like touching moment, of the whole movie's like resolution, but at the same time, like, you're just laughing your ass off.
Well, no, not yet.
It's like,
Not yet.
I just
stay here with me.
forgot about Cable. I didn't think like into the Deadpool characters. I kind of just thought of Deadpool.
Well, I actually got to Cable through the X-Men, just because I was thinking of the X-Men animated series, and I was just like, oh yeah, and in Deadpool 2, that was a fantastic choice for that character, and I really hope Josh Brolin can be back around in the MCU, not as Thanos, but as Cable. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, so that's who I've got at my 83, I believe. Yes, 83.
My 83 happens to be Selena Kyle, Catwoman. My one of my favorite portrayals of her is actually in Gotham, and I do mean Gotham this time, for real, not Arrow.
Yes.
Her in Gotham, and like young Selena Kyle. It's really just cool to see like the becoming of Catwoman, and like, and her backstory basically, which was super cool. But
and I mean, not to mention her portrayal in The Batman by Zoe Kravitz. That was just fucking phenomenal. I just know with my heart of hearts that was fucking great. She did fantastic in that.
Oh yeah, all those
really just a heart-wrenching portrayal.
The interviews with them, Robert and her, they just the
sexual
Final
Fantasy.
Yeah, the sexual tension between those two is just unreal. I don't know if they're if they were just playing it up for the movie, or
did you see the clip where Robert Pattinson's explaining Final Fantasy lore to Zoe Kravitz?
Oh yeah,
that's the funniest shit. I saw a tweet that was like, it's hilarious that you can be on the level of status that Robert is and still excel at scaring the hoes.
Yeah, he's I don't know. He's just that hot, He's just that, like, he can do whatever he wants. he's Batman, you know. He's now, I don't know, that's badass, but yeah, Selena Kyle.
Yeah, she comes later on my list. I've got a soft spot in my heart for Selena Kyle going back to the Batman animated series. She's I think first episode's about Selena Kyle, or Batman opposed with Selena Kyle. So yeah, very cool, very cool. I'm very excited for me to get to her as well. But with that, we go to 82, and thus begins a run of the Eternals. This is where they begin. At 82, I have Cersei. I liked Gemma Chan. I liked the portrayal she gave, and I loved her soft spot for humanity, the love she had for the planet, and how she had no doubt once she was given this opportunity and knew the full scope that they had to stop what was happening. It was like she was like, well, there's pretty much no doubt about that, right? Like we can't just let this happen. Which I really appreciate about her.
Oh. Was it ever explained how she turned, you know, how she couldn't turn living things into whatever she wanted to? Like it had to be
and then she could.
Whatever, and then she did. Was that ever explained how?
I think it was just she reached a level she hadn't previously in terms of like...
Because I never thought about it, but like she just turned one living thing into another living thing. And maybe that's
into a tree.
Like maybe that's like, I don't. It just like kind of like you can turn inanimate objects into other inanimate objects, or like an element to another element, because it's just, you know, not living. But maybe like she's just never tried to make, you know, maybe she's tried to turn like someone to stone or something, and that just obviously wouldn't work or whatever.
But if you turn them into a plant, of some sort,
I don't know. Maybe maybe it's as simple as that or something like that. I don't know. Just kind of. There,
well, I have the power of transmutation, which means I can turn water to air. I actually one time I turned a rock into air.
All right, we'll come back to you.
You think on that for a while, okay? I love Eternals. I actually just gave it a rewatch just yesterday.
Beautiful movie.
And oh yeah, it's fantastic, and she is a really lovable character, and I only see it going upwards for her. You know, I think that all these Eternals characters are only going to see a rise up this list. So, especially Cersei. You know, I think she's got a lot of potential going forward, and shout out to Gemma Chan for being one of the only people in the MCU with more than one role. She played Minerva in Captain Marvel. She's a blue Kree.
She's now the Prime Eternal, right? Is she still the Prime Eternal? I think, still. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting. And currently with Hiroshima somewhere.
I suspect the World Forge.
Or wherever Hiroshima decides to hang out.
Yeah, right.
Wherever that happens to be. But, Cersei, she's
what do you even do when you're that, like that?
It's a good question. Just exist.
You just bool like, yep, I'm waiting for my next decision.
All right. Just got to wait for him to do the thing. All right, they did it. Now I'll teleport. There. All right. Like,
oh, it's time.
Can you, I love that they showed a Celestial, coming to Earth and, how people would react. And how, Kit Harington legitimately just, had nothing else to do other than just have a panic attack, because obviously that would be the scariest shit. What? That was a thing and it was there and now it's gone with my
the splitting girl? Of the clouds and God, it's fantastic.
Yeah, my Eternals run will come a little bit later, not too far, but a little bit. Yeah. Moving on to my 82, happens to be Okoye. Just an overall badass in Black Panther, and her performance was just was amazing.
Absolutely.
Her loyalty, that the switch up at the end, she was loyal to T'Challa.
She was loyal to the throne, man.
I mean,
too. Yeah.
But had to at the last moment she couldn't stick with Killmonger, you know, like
No, yeah, you know, whenever T'Challa comes back, he's like, as you can see,
well,
you did not kill me. And she's
that's
like, oh
okay,
shit,
fair.
bet that. Hey, the challenge isn't over, motherfucker. You better get out there and fight.
Okay, actually, wow. So technically, she was always loyal to the throne. Then it was never like an actual. There was no treason at all. Then okay,
No.
that's even better. Wow.
Yeah, he was like, as you can see, I am not dead.
Mm.
You did not kill me. The challenge is not over.
But talk about a person who can hold her own.
Oh, dude, what a badass!
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be coming in next episode for me. But yeah, I think one of my favorite Okoye lines was, you know, when we decided to open the world to Wakanda, this is not what I had in mind. Thought it was the Olympics or maybe a Starbucks.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was funny.
I mean, those things will eventually come, right? You think Wakanda eventually gets a Starbucks? You know,
I gotta guess they will.
Maybe like a post-credit scene somewhere.
Yeah, so maybe they'll pull that through. They'll give Okoye, like they do those Marvel one shots. Like maybe they just have like a Okoye at a coffee date at Starbucks.
That'd be awesome. Maybe a Starbucks and shawarma combination.
Shawarma,
have like the Wakandan version of the shawarma, or maybe that was the Baskin Robbins scene that I'm thinking of. Or no, that was shawarma. No, I think they were eating shawarma.
Though there's shawarma and there's Baskin Robbins. They've hit them all. But yeah, all right, 82 Okoye, that's a good one. She'll be coming up before long for me as well. But with that, on to my 81. This is where I have Kingo, portrayed by Kumail Nanjiani in Eternals. I really liked his character. You know, I think I've read some stuff and I've listened to interviews and he says that his story got cut like quite a bit, which kind of sucks. You know, he seemed like one that could have benefited from a little bit more story, as frankly as they all could have. It's just it was such a big idea.
Yeah,
it was just such a big idea for one movie. But I really liked that he was about his principle. You know, he said what he was like. I'm here. I don't think we can participate in the killing of a Celestial and take away the chance for billions of life forms to be born. And therein, I'm a dip. And like I like that Icarus was like, well, I'm gonna fight you to make sure that you don't make that happen. And I love that Kingo was like, I won't fight you, but I won't take part in what you're trying to do. I appreciate that stance. Yeah, I think that was really cool, and I love the idea that he was just like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna build a fucking movie enterprise, just
Why
a
not,
giant legacy,
right? Like if you're a Celestial and you're living on Earth for who knows how long, you know, like you obviously want to be famous, you know, after a while, like you want to do something. And
I think we should be remembered.
My great-great-grandfather, like walking down all the posters.
The greatest legacy in the history of Bollywood.
Well, he's I guess he'll be coming up, you know, in my Eternals run, no doubt.
Of course.
But oh yeah, awesome. I love like just the fact that he can kind of shoot out his energy like whichever way he wants, you know, kind of. But he just like, obviously you go finger guns.
Well, you know, I was watching it the other day to see if there was like any sort of like context with it, like if there was like a time period in which he began doing finger guns, like to emulate guns. But when I watched it yesterday, he's pretty much like that from the get-go.
Oh, really?
Early on, he does more of the Kamehameha thing. But it's the battle at like the outside of the gates of Babylon that he's first using like the like he's acting like he's shooting a gun. So I was like, that's interesting. I wonder if that's like I don't know. It's just an efficient mechanism through which he decided to do it, or if he was actually trying to emulate something that hadn't been created.
Yeah, I guess,
yet.
And like just for movie's sake, you know, it's like it looks way better than like I don't know, like I don't even what else do you really do? Yeah, there's not much else you can
Oh no,
kind of do.
it was clean regardless.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have any complaints. I just thought that was funny.
He was
I was
clean
like,
with it.
I wonder if he like starts using finger guns after guns had been invented. So he's like, or after he'd become like an action hero, like he'd used guns on screen, so he started using guns like as his fucking power. But I don't know. I thought that was funny. But I like Kingo a lot.
Oh yeah, it's your 81.
I believe so. Yes.
Mine. This is where Silver Surfer lies with me, and I've like before I watched the animated show, the cartoon, which is like so good. I had no idea like that he was connected like to Galactus and like his whole backstory. Like I had no idea. I just knew of like the character and what he looked like basically.
Yeah, he's got one of the strong like this is. I'll be interested if how high Thanos is on your list, because this is now far and away the biggest difference on me and yours.
Yeah, I just haven't read like any of the comics or anything like to get a deep dive with him, but like what I know of his character and like what he gets into, like I could see why this is a very sizable gap. It's just I don't know much.
No, yeah, that's fair. You know, he's a really, really great character, and his backstory is really what propels him. And yeah, I'll speak more on him whenever I get to him. But he's one of those that I mentioned that is high on my list, even though he hasn't had an on-screen portrayal. He's it really is just a couple comic runs I read that I was just like, oh my fucking god, this is officially one of my favorite characters of all time. It has to be the case.
I think it was one of Stan Lee's favorites too. I think he likes Silver Surfer a lot. But yeah, my character I don't know, do some more looking into for sure. So yeah,
all right,
81.
All right. With that onto my 80, we continue my Eternals run, and this be where Druig lie. You know, he had one of the greatest crosses to bear in the Eternals film, not being able to aid humanity, or not aid humanity, but prevent them from conflict. You know, he's got quite the inner conflict there, and I appreciate that scene where he officially goes out on his own. I don't know, and I don't want to say it was moral or anything, but you know, he did do much to preserve that colony, and
I mean, I think he wasn't controlling them the whole time. You know, I think it was
I think he'd control them if need.
Yeah, I think they like the people who live there. It seemed like they wanted
they were like,
to
how
be
do you know
there.
Druig?
Yeah, I think like they wanted to be there. It seemed it didn't seem forced at all. At least I didn't get that vibe from it. But yeah, it is I don't know, that concept is super interesting. Like what would have happened if he did, you know, and that brings up like just a crazy like philosophical question, you know, like if that's really what we want, you know, like obviously on the surface level, like, yeah, if you can eradicate war, like that's
pretty huge.
Yeah. But like, at what point do we need to be controlled the whole time for this to not happen? Like if he just stops, do we just go right back into it? Or like, so like, are we even living anymore at that point? You know, like what even happens? That's a crazy, what if?
Yeah. When I was watching Eternals yesterday, you know, I was thinking to myself as he was like, you know, us and the deviants were pawns, like we're being controlled. And then pretty much immediately following that, he takes a group, controls them, and leads them off into the woods. And it's like, oh man, you're. It was just a really interesting contradiction that he had himself in there, and ultimately he realizes it. You know, he's like, I realize they need to make their own choices, or else that takes away their humanity. That takes away what makes them alive. And I think Drew is a really cool character, and you know, I love the way he loves his beautiful, beautiful Makari.
Oh yeah, she's coming up too.
My beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, another
Makari.
speedster. I'm glad. I thought Quicksilver. Duh. Obviously, another speedster. Cool. Like, get to her. I guess whenever we get there.
Oh yes, and we will be getting to her soon.
My 80 is J. Jonah Jameson of
I'm
the
glad you
Daily
asked.
Bugle. And he just seems to be an absolute across the Spidey. I guess in Andrews, do they even show a J. Jonah Jameson in Andrews universe?
They don't, but there is a Daily Bugle paper, if I remember correctly, and they might show an article written by a J. Jonah Jameson, but I don't remember for sure.
But I mean, obviously his performance in the original, the Tobey Spider-Man movies, and then in No Way Home was awesome to see him in there in No Way Home, and I don't know, just a character of my childhood. I don't know, had to put him in here.
Had to.
And yeah, I guess not much to say about him. He's just J. Jonah Jameson. That's just
absolutely. I'm glad you had him. I'm glad you had him because I thought about it, but I was like, I'm not gonna make room for J. Jonah Jameson. But I was like, I think Joe will have him. So I think we'll be okay. But yeah, that's a legendary character there, played by J.K. Simmons. But yeah, all right. With that, on to my 79, and we're coming down to the wire with my top 4 Eternals here. Over the end of this episode, we'll finish out my Eternals. 79 is Thena, played by Angelina Jolie. Drop the A. I think she's absolutely badass. I think she's her whole conflict throughout the movie, her battle with Mad Weary and and them ultimately realizing like, oh shit, well now we know why you have Mad Weary. Something must have happened whenever they tried to wipe your memories last. Thena's just a really awesome character. It sucks that, I have some gripes with the Deviant storyline, but the way that they went with it, her getting her revenge on Crow to take him out after he'd killed Gilgamesh. I loved that. And her and Gilgamesh, one of the strongest pairings in all of Marvel for my money. I love Gilgamesh and Thena. So Thena at my 79.
We're getting close to my Eternals, but before at 79, enter another DC character. This is where I have Wonder Woman. And I kind of didn't really know where to place her. I liked her first movie. Wonder Woman 84 was or 87, or
84.
Okay.
You got it right.
Was kind of like it was, I don't know, a little weird. Just a strange direction that they went in my, like.
No, it was just like, it was such a goofy, I have to watch it through the lens that I'd watch any superhero movie released around that time, like 80s. Like, it's like, this feels like an 80s movie and just how dumb it is. The whole concept where Steve is like looking in the mirror at someone else, but they're showing us a different guy, and it's like, okay, all right. Like it's just a convoluted mess, and like it's entertaining, but yeah, it can be bad.
But is it Godot? Like, I've been saying Godot my whole life, but I've been recently hearing Godot.
I've heard Godot a lot more than I've heard Godot, and I've always thought it was Godot until about a year ago. So yeah, I think it is Gal Gadot, but yeah, that first Wonder Woman movie though, fantastic. Yeah, and I love her in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Like, she is, I don't know, like, just so, like, Gal Gadot is just like Wonder Woman, like in real life too. Like the cringy video that like she had on Twitter, like whatever. Like we'll just like
imagine.
Yeah, we'll look past that. But like, like I feel like she just fits this role super well. And she embraces it. I think, and like for little girls, like that has to be like awesome to look up to.
Oh, it's gotta be
someone
cool.
Like her.
Know, I actually when I was younger. And I was at like my grandparents' house. We'd watch a lot of the Wonder Woman series of old with like Linda Carter from pretty long ways back. Here, let me see when that was. It's available on HBO Max nowadays. 1975 through 1979. Linda Carter played Wonder Woman, so I'd watch that old series with my grandma and grandpa. It was very nostalgic for me. So Wonder Woman does see a bit of a rise on my list compared to yours. But yeah, all right.
My 8, or that was my 79.
79. All right. Athena and Wonder Woman at 79. Wow,
that's kind of cool.
Look at that.
That's I'll underline that one.
The little Marvel DC equivalent
there. Asterisk. That's worth an asterisk.
Yeah, there it is. But 78, following my Athena pick, I had to go Gilgamesh. I loved Gilgamesh in that movie, and the more I watch Eternals, the more one of my favorites he becomes. He's just wise. He knows he just knows the way. He knows what's the right thing to do. And like whenever Cersei seeks the advice on how to speak to Arishem, and he's like, maybe you're trying too hard. Sometimes you just have to listen. Like it's just like it's all just really simple shit. He's down to ride. I'd do it again on any planet.
Yeah. Oh gosh, man, what a guy.
I will protect her.
I guess I won't. I mean, I'm like pretty much right there. I have 3 more until I get to my Eternals run.
So we'll start next episode with yours, I think.
Yes. Oh yeah. 75 is the last Eternal. So
funny. Okay. 75 is my top Eternal, or 76 is my top Eternal. So we'll finish this episode with mine and start next episode with yours.
That's crazy. Wow, how that turned out. But moving on to my 78, a different direction, but back sticking with DC for me. This is where I have Alfred Pennyworth. And
I have Alfred Pennyworth next week.
Yeah, the live action, performances that everyone thinks of immediately would be like Dark Knight and Batman Begins. That Alfred, that we all
Michael
know.
Caine.
But in Gotham, he's like badass. He's like a James Bond, basically. In Gotham, and like in comics, like he's like badass. Like beats the shit out of somebody. Like, was it Superman? I think he like beat the shit out of Superman in a comic book run somewhere. Like legit. Like I don't know. I saw it on TikTok or something like that. But
there's actually a show on HBO Max these days that I've been wanting to give a viewing. It's called Pennyworth. And Alfred is the main character. It's his young days as a spy for the country he grew up in.
Yeah, Alfred beat the shit out of Superman. I don't know like the context, if he was like weakened or near cryptic, whatever. But at one point, Alfred beat like the shit out of Superman. So,
goddamn. And who can forget Andy Serkis's portrayal as Alfred Pennyworth here in the most recent Batman film. I love me some Andy Serkis. As he was Ulysses Klaue and Supreme Leader Snoke. It's just nice to have him Marvel, Star Wars, and DC now with Ulysses Klaue, Supreme Leader Snoke, and Alfred Pennyworth. What a collection of characters that guy's played, huh?
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Quite the resume.
Indeed. But yes, Alfred Pennyworth, he will be occurring later on my list. He will. But on to the next. 77. This is where I have Fastos. Love me some Fastos, and Brian Tyree Henry is fucking fantastic. So glad Atlanta's back on the air. He's fantastic in that. But yeah, him as Fastos was absolutely awesome. Huge win for some representation here. And getting a gay black superhero with a whole family after having turned his back on humanity for the atrocities that they've once committed and have committed and continue to commit. And it's just like he sees the good in humanity in them every day. And I think that's just really cool. I really like his character, and you know, a lot of speculation whether or not he designed the nuclear bomb, which is absolutely not the case. He stopped designing shit a very long time ago before that, and they got there on their own.
Mm-hmm.
He even says it in that scene, you know, without my help and their advancement, they wouldn't have gotten to this point. Druig was right. And obviously, I think that scene's going to come back around when Arishem is doing his judgment, which sucks.
Yep. Oopsies. God damn it.
Raggy.
As Eternals go, he's my top Eternal. He's my favorite.
He's top 2 for me.
Yeah, he's my favorite out of all of them. So I mean, I will get to him. I just love the Brainiac, the engineering. Like, I mean, like, he was just.
Oh, this is satisfying, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
I've been wanting to clip your wings.
That was also very satisfying. The whipping motion as well. You know, very.
I was like, yeah, that shit was fantastic.
But yeah, I will get to him. God
damn, more we talk about Eternals, the more I'm just like, fuck, I love
it. It was such a good movie. Don't know why the reviews were the way they were. Like,
you know, upon its release on Disney Plus, the reception it got when more people were watching it, I've seen nothing but love now. You know, people are loving that movie regardless.
I swear people just didn't watch it. And they just like went along with what everyone was saying. I swear, like I don't think people just wanted to go watch a 3-hour and 20-minute movie or whatever it ended up being. Like, I think people just like didn't watch it and were just like, "Yep, this one sucked. I want to be in the know, you know, or whatever." But
yeah,
I don't know. But my 77, I'm sticking in DC. Curious on where he is on yours, but this is where Peacemaker lies with me. And I mean that, you know, in Suicide Squad and especially the show, that show was so good. One of my favorite just things to come out in 2022 so far. James Gunn just killed it, and John Cena killed it as Peacemaker. So I was thinking about putting him higher, but I don't know if that was recency bias and everything like that. But I don't know. Like I really love that show, and can't wait.
He'll be coming up in the next episode. Not too much further up my list either, but he got developed a lot for me in the Suicide Squad, and not in the Suicide Squad, in Peacemaker in his show. You know, coming off the Suicide Squad, that's my least favorite character from that movie. Leaving the Peacemaker, I'm like, that's just a testament to what James Gunn can do with a fucking character.
Damn.
Like,
that is true. That's amazing.
Yeah, like just the sympathy you develop over the course of the show for Peacemaker, learn more about his dad and his upbringing and what happened to him when he was younger, and you know, him on his own upon, you know, Rick Flagg's words ringing in his head, you know, Peacemaker. What a joke.
You literally called that, like, by the way. You
Yeah.
called it so early.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, I think that's going to be a moment they build on. I think that's something that really got
3 or 4 times that they showed it in the show, right? Like,
he's crying his ass off thinking about it. Like, I was like, hey, all right, cool. They're doing exactly what I wanted them to do, which was just, you know, as far as like what I want from a series, they nailed it. They fucking nailed it. And, yeah, man, like the more I think about that series, the more I'm like, I cannot wait for season 2. That's going to be fucking glorious. But yeah, Peacemaker, that's a good one for your 77. All right, so one more each for this episode. With that ends my Eternals. I've got Makari, 76. The speedster. This is my favorite Eternal. I think she's just really cool. You know, seeing her beat Icarus's ass there at the end, bombarding his shit, was absolutely awesome.
Did not need to use slow motion. Like, I didn't realize this, like, at all until it was just brought up in somewhere on Twitter or something. But, like, whenever someone pointed out that, like, not a single time did they use slow mo. Like they didn't use slow motion like at all with Makari. And it looked good, and like you kept up, even though she was going blazing speed.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was
like
it was impeccable. You know, like they used like they used less slow motion, more of like a freeze frame sort of effect, where like they like showed her make impact for like half a second longer than she probably was making impact. It was like, and then she kept
whenever
going,
she was like corner or like push Icarus into like the kind of rock or boulder,
use the sonic
and then just
boom to push him back,
just kept like punching into, like just running into him in all different directions. Like you just saw like boom, 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 and he kept like going deeper and deeper into like the rock, and like
fantastic.
Oh my god! And her like finding the spot of the convert or the emergence, like her running like just zooming across Earth, was super cool to see. Like, but
one of my favorite things just about the character is that she's just been stealing shit for years. Just like artifacts and books and all. Like she is probably a great source for like a lot of like the most legendary missing shit.
Ooh,
she's just,
that'd be so cool if they just have like history time with Makari, like
yeah, exactly.
That'd be so cool.
Well, it's all still on the Domo, and they're on the Domo at the end of Eternals. So
God, that word, man, I don't know what it is. I can't take it seriously, no matter what. Major Domo.
Yeah, I can't believe that's the name of the ship, Domo.
Man, I can't. But that's a nice way to round off the Eternals.
Oh yeah, and obviously like just an awesome step for representation with Warren Ridloff as the actress there, being deaf and using sign language on screen. It was really awesome, and I just absolutely loved her. The first time we hear her voice when Druig gets shot down and she screams. Apparently that was improvised.
Damn.
Like that was not supposed to, like, she.
Damn.
Like I was like, oof, that was beautiful. Like that was such a great moment where you feel it all. You feel everything she felt in that moment. I thought that was awesome. But yeah, Makari, that's my top Eternal, and she ends this episode at 76.
My 76, fitting that he's at the top, of this episode, or the top of this part. This milestone is a Kingpin. I don't know, this is a little low for him, but of the Spidey villains, I don't know why. I just never have really latched on to Kingpin, like I have with like a Doc Ock or Green Goblin or But I mean, he's badass, that's for sure. And like I love him in Daredevil. Vanessa,
Vanessa, you embarrassed me in front of Vanessa.
You will pay. Like, I don't know. That
smashes a dude's head in a car door. No, yeah, this is another one that will have a pretty sizable difference. Like, I think it's funny, the ones that are first step, like there are a couple so far for me that are first episode for you, last episode for me, and I don't know if that's or second to last episode, one or the other, like top 50 anyway, And yeah, Kingpin snuck in up there, and it is mostly because of his Daredevil performance. I love Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. I think.
Damn now, yeah. Damn. Now that I'm thinking about like his Daredevil performance and like how like his whole childhood and like backstory, and then like the
like, I was genuinely surprised just now to hear you end this episode.
That is kind of wild.
I thought for sure he'd be coming there.
I was like looking for someone to like round up like right before 75, and I'm like, yeah, that like King, like he's like the king of this part or whatever, but like maybe he's like more of the king of like the 50 milestone. Like maybe that's like maybe like that should be where he belongs.
And that's the thing too, is that like at any given point, what I'm reading, what I'm watching can vastly sway this very list. Had I not come off a Daredevil viewing just a few weeks ago, or I guess a couple months ago now, like Kingpin might not be so high. But like before I watched Daredevil, Kingpin might not be on this at all. Like it's
that
like
performance was so good. Oh,
Vincent D'Onofrio just dominated.
Vanessa. Oh,
you embarrassed me in front of Vanessa.
All the memes. Man, and him in Into the Spider-Verse. Didn't even think about that. Takes up the
Yes,
whole
of course.
screen, that's
Kill that guy.
no neck. Or maybe just the most massive shoulder back muscle you've ever seen on a man.
Perhaps. Perhaps. Nah, Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, that's a really cool character. Another really cool adaptation is Spider-Man PS4. When he takes him down at the beginning of that video game and he's like, "You fucking idiot, you're going to realize I held this shit together. I'm the reason shit wasn't terrible."
What a cool concept of a character. Just for his family. All for his family.
And I also like like the Shadowland stories where like he his interactions with Daredevil and like Iron Fist and the hand and stuff like that martial arts side of the universe. It's really interesting that Kingpin has any sort of association with that in the comic books, but he does, and it's really, really cool to see that in comics.
Whenever he just started speaking Japanese, like in Daredevil, or like that was like like okay, like
okay,
I see you, and it was like in his voice still, like the way he spoke, like his mannerisms were still like coming through, like somehow.
The same contemplation on every word, but
I'll take this one. It makes me feel lonely. Like, okay.
That is something you want to feel when you're looking at a painting, dude. And the way they threaded that
prison cell,
whenever he's looking at his prison cell wall, and oh man, that's just a fucking show right there, man.
Yeah, more to talk about him.
Kingpin's
what the hell is he doing down here?
No, yeah, I had one of those just a little bit ago, towards the beginning of this episode with Heimdall, and I was like, "Fuck, I don't know why I had him down here." The more I talk about him, the more I fucking love him. But yeah. With that, I think that concludes part 1 of a 4-part series in our top 100 comic book characters. Very, very, very exciting. So that was 76 through 100. Next week, we will find 75 through 51, 50 through 26 the week after that, and then the top 25 to conclude the saga. And thus we'll conclude our top 100s. I don't know that we'll be able to do another on anything. But perhaps, who knows, maybe one day.
SpongeBob episodes. I don't know. I just was trying to think of anything that could cover 100, but
we could do we could rank like all the Disney Plus episodes of television, Marvel and Star Wars.
Okay. Now we're talking. Now we're getting somewhere.
Now we're getting creative. But yeah, with that concludes the Penny Bloom podcast. I was Colton Robertson, joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom. That's COROBLOOM, where you'll find well over 24 hours of exclusive content, including some preparation for this top 100 list, where we Joe had to come up with the last of his list, and we've had so much other content over there over the course of the year, and it's just been a lot of fun. If you would, follow on Twitter @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. Leave a 5-star rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And you've embarrassed me in front of Vanessa.